Hello there folks. Today I've got a series of 1 versus 1s for you between AdmiralGeneral and Xankar. These are recommended to me as pretty decent games, so I think it's only fair that we give them a bit of a look in. They're from the current ongoing PA League, and these two players are pretty up there. That's all we really need to say. Let's hop over to the game. So over here, as the players spawn in on Ignis, on the north spawn here, we've got Xankar in brown. Wonderful brown it is too. Bots first. We'll have to see what he follows that up with. Mechs, P-Gen, possibly a second P-Gen before a second factory. Straight into air. Then he's following up with the P-Gens. Right. Goody goody. We'll have our Pip over there. Which means on the south pole, you've got AdmiralGeneral again going bots first. Wow, he's got a queue set up. Air second, bots third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So his transition to vehicles is going to be a little bit later in the game, but he's popped in his P-Gens there all the while. Actually, what I'm going to do for Pip is I'm going to follow how he builds there, because I've seen a few of you wondering about early game builds. So if you want to follow Admiral's exact build, you can watch it in the Pip there. Bringing out a combat fab so that he gets a little bit of nice reclaim there, boosting himself up to 56 medal income. Air factory there getting fireflies, he's going to go around and scouting. Looking around the rest of Ignis though, between the bases, what do we got? We've got a few choke points here, as these raised platforms suggest, or denote rather. And equally across a few other lava and rocky chasms and outcroppings respectively, for a little bit of extra side metal if you decide to go that way. Of course you can get at that through this long corridor here, but it is very long and narrow, so it's quite lockdownable, as it were, with turrets. Even on the other side of the map though, we've got a slightly higher concentration of metal, again with lots and lots of choke points. You can easily get a Pelican and drop some fabbers over there, but there's a lot of this metal, and a lot of it is to be contested with some good choke points. So that's what players are going to be wanting to do: expand quickly, lock down their choke points, and get on with whatever they can do with regards to gaining map control early on. You see some boombots out from Admiral. I've seen him use this strat fairly often, actually, in recent games that I have seen of him. He sends a few boombots around that are just going to sit there and wait for the unsuspecting fabricators. Especially if you're bunching two fabs up like this, you get a double kill. It's a really nice win there. Xankar coming out, and instead of reclaiming his comm, he's gone for a combat fab push for some mines, locking down the choke point there, which is really interesting. A little bit of an air trade, but the bomber will get the double fab pick there. Really nice win for this stage of the game. Having these docks to assist these fabs is really nice, just in case the boombot... Oh, they're not assisting the fab. There we go. Realising that Admiral might be up to some tricks, he brings the docks back around to deal with that boombot, which I believe he did see from before, and he will finish off now. Very nice indeed. Looking around though, you've got some air fabs out now. They're quite good if you can get them past the hummingbird scouts. Really quite efficient in terms of gaining that map control. Of course, not very efficient in terms of their resource expenditure, but it can give you a surprising amount of expansion if your opponent neglects to have a look around for them. A few fabs coming out from Admiral as well in lots of different directions to grab as much of this as possible, notably from Xankar, rather conservative play, whereas Admiral is trying to expand in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 directions at once. Xankar is content with 2. Part of that might be due to Admiral pushing in from this side, but perhaps Xankar is just unfamiliar with the map and has got a little bit tunnel vision down here. And now, of course, he'll see these docks pushing in against his expansion here, and he'll be thinking, oh, whoops, I forgot to defend it. So that's a nice early pick of those two mechs there for Admiral, pushing him further into the lead there, and pushing Xankar further behind, although he doesn't actually finish that second mech. Nice save there for Xankar. all the same, the float is real, the difference between the economies is real. And that's something that Xankar is going to need to address very, very rapidly indeed, as Admiral does begin his vehicle transition. And that could signal the T2 arrival, of course. Meanwhile, surprising stuff, we've got a T2 fab factory. Gosh, I'm mixing up my words today. It's been a long day. T2 factory from Xankar, of all people. Especially with his current expansions, he's probably realizing, okay, well, I have to play a little bit defensively here. Perhaps that's the right call, perhaps not, because of course this is MLA versus MLA, there's no Legion involved here whatsoever, and so neglecting the map control and neglecting any form of raiding is really going to give this game to Admiral going forward. Looking at the metal differences there, still 100 mechs difference. That is substantial. Good to see that we're getting some radars up here from Xankar. So we'll be able to see as and when there's some aggressive forces coming here from Admiral. If we just go from his perspective now, he's not stalling on power, so we can see that these docks are a pesky nuisance on his back door. Moving around the side though, he has managed to take this sort of central area. For the most part, at any rate. Xankar now, not Xankar, AdmiralGeneral, again, mixing up my words. Going for the T2 vehicle factory there, we'll be pushing with levelers along these two corridors here very, very soon indeed, possibly even mixing in with some shellers to deal with the inevitable choke point defense and or T2 vehicle defense. Lots of bombers lost here for Admiral. I wonder, was 3, 4, 5 bombers? Was that worth 2 fabs? I don't think so. Very good there from Xankar to pick off those extra bombs, and perhaps a little bit of missed micro there from AdmiralGeneral indeed. 4 vehicle fabs now working on this factory, getting it up nice and quick indeed. You can see the AdmiralGeneral build continuing there. It's just going to shift, so he's going into more PGens and an additional air factory. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in total there in terms of air factories. Xankar lagging behind significantly in terms of factories. Only got up to 3 air factories, but he has finished his T2 factory. Xankar a little bit behind with the fabs, of course, as well there, but then again, I think that's more reflective of his defensive playstyle on this map. Very strong difference between these two players. Admiral expanding with as many fabs as he can get his hands on, and Xankar content to say, okay, you do that, I'll just get some T2. And he's got it. But so's AdmiralGeneral, so he doesn't necessarily have an advantage there with that T2. And I think once he sees that, there's going to be words had with senior Xankar management. He's getting out that T2 factory advantage, I think, was probably his hope here. The fab seemed to be sniped by a bomber there going off in the earlier game. Good raid there from Admiral though. Xankar coming in desperately to try and defend, but will one bomber be enough? I'm not entirely convinced. Ooh. Nice movement there. That bomber indeed. In comes Admiral though with the superior air force here, significantly so. That's 4 air factories contributing. And of course a reduced ratio of bombers now, so he is pumping out more hummingbirds per bumblebee. A good way of gaining air superiority back. Xankar will now want to do the same, but again he needs to fix his economy, and this is going to be his biggest issue going into the late game here. Well, mid-late game. Is not having that early game expansion and relinquishing all of this map control to Admiral. We have got a nice little push out here though, all things considered. Another fab pick. Because looking at the way Admiral's locked all this down, It's only with T1 point defense, single barrel. And that's easily raidable with a bunch of docks this sort of that sort of magnitude. Look at this. Look at this. This is nonsense. But we have the levelers out from Admiral now, being a little bit aggressive. They will push up into a little bit of a minefield, or what remains. And the size of the force there should be able to deal with this little bit of defense. How much longer has Xankar got, we wonder? Stalling his economy really, really badly here. He needs to get some form of expansion. But if we look into the unit tab here, is that really all that likely? 95 units to 150. So he can't really do a huge amount of raiding. And his fab count is only 9. Where all those are is anybody's guess. Kind of sat around. And distinctly lagging behind in factories, although most of Admiral's are now air factories producing fabs and bombers because he knows he has air superiority in the bag. These levelers are going to push through this defense easily. Without question there. And that may or may not signal the end of this game, really. If it hadn't been signalled before, it certainly is now. Levelers on the doorstep. Air superiority to face. And only one leveler. Potentially 2 in defence. Not the best of situations to find yourself in, to say the least. Bombers coming in. If they get that T2 fab, then it really is all over. Wow, Xankar just managing to defend, but here he's only postponing the inevitable. God, just look at Admiral's base, though. T2 air is kind of expected with that number of airfabs being pumped out. You're going to have some kestrels coming out of that. Xankar, you're building a second T2 vehicle factory when you don't have the mechs to support it. No, sir. Might even be wise to get some flak up, but I'm not entirely sure I can see a way for Xankar to pull this back, really. There's no flak going up, so the bombers can swarm. Down goes the T2 fab, and that'll significantly hamper any further build efforts there. There's still one remaining, however. And there's the bomber force on the defence. And that's going to provide Admiral a lovely, clean route into Xankar's base. There's the air superiority. We're going to start seeing the T2 air factored in here in a minute. Here come the kestrels now. Already popped out there. The moment that rears its head, I think Xankar probably will call the GG. Look from Xankar's point of view here. What can he see? He can see those kestrels. He can't see the rest of the map. He knows quite how far Admiral has expanded, and he hasn't even got anywhere near that. He's just about to meet an ugly T2 push up the middle here. Has to be said, he is defending quite nicely, but wonder whether the clincher is going to be an air. An air kill, an air snipe. Come on, bring out some worms, Admiral. Bring out some worms for a comm snipe. Why not? Xankar going for T2 air. What? What is this? He has managed to get a storm out there now. That is a really good decision. The thing is, though, Storm's weakness is Kestrels, as they can just about pick it off from outside its range. Down goes the Storm. Bombers now have free reign, as do the rest of the Kestrels. Perhaps should have remained a defensive force there from Xankar until he had a better unit composition, maybe with a few spinners in there as well. Alas. There's the GG. That's all she wrote. Xankar. Impressive game. Impressive game there by Admiral. I hope you found the build there useful. Righty, so it's time to move into the second game. Here we go. Second game in this best of 3. This time on Overcooked Pizza between AdmiralGeneral and Xankar. Once again, I'm going to show you AdmiralGeneral's build here, because he does like to put up a significant one. We can see it forming in the south there with bots first. And on the north side, we've got Xankar, who's similarly constructing his builds over time. We've got there bots first, into air. Gone full 3 air factories this time, and an early vehicle transition. Maybe an early T2 vehicle rush there. Moving out from Admirals, we can see equally 3 air factories, 2 bots, and the vehicle transition. So a little slightly later vehicle transition than Xankar, but all the same, it'll depend on whether we get good expansion from Xankar this time. Last time, he became a hermit, became a recluse. This time, however, getting some nice comm reclaim. 2 fabs going into 3. Firefly out as well for the scout. Admiral already ahead of him on that regard. Even getting an air fab out. Admiral will have seen that air fab, and he will be waiting for the pick. It's just in the Firefly's range there. The moment it comes off, in comes Admiral to get the air fab pick. Will he manage it? Yes, he does. That's a good pick there from Admiral early game. Meanwhile, Admiral, though, out with his 3rd fabricator any minute now. And again, he'll be expanding off in all sorts of directions. You can see his queue there. Pop, pop, set and forget. Expanded Rooney all around. And Xankar, meanwhile, less aggressive with his expansion again. So you can already see the difference there in how far these players are prepared to expand. Admiral hoping to grab half of the map. Xankar, he's content with his volcano up the top there. So let's zoom out from Admiral for a second, so you can see him picture in picture as his stuff begins to multiply exponentially, as that's what the game is all about. Xankar, in the meanwhile, though, up to floating his medal now, so is Admiral. All of that is due to the comm reclaim here, so he's floating everything that he's reclaiming at this point. If you're going to comm reclaim, you do not want to float, because then you're effectively killing your commander for no gain whatsoever. Just a 2nd air factory there. Bombers out for Admiral as well. They will pick off the fab. Xankar definitely not at the top of his game with his micro today. And the doc's doing a little bit of toing and froing. The no man's land there between the bases. I half wonder if we might even see some drifters, but then again, why would you? Especially if your opponent's going to have their superiority. I suppose it's something for Admiral to consider as drifters along the middle. Right between the bases there. That shall not be a problem. Xankar, though, he has managed to expand a little bit. All the blue numbers there. Goodness me. Xankar just needs to keep the expansion alive. That's what he needs. He needs to replenish his fabs, keep the expansion alive. He's lost a couple. As you can see there, if I hold shift to show the cues, the big expansion that was there is no more. Meanwhile, AdmiralGeneral's fab that still remains is able to queue all of this juicy mechs. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Does not get better than that. Have we got any T2 queued yet? We'll keep an eye on that. My caps lock on so that you can constantly see the build orders as and when I go over them. Looks like another couple of fabs were picked off from Xankar, and he is failing to replenish them. He's got a couple of vehicle fabs out now though, but they will be a little slower in their expansion. Admiral just on the ball with the aggression today. Absolutely on the ball. Where it needs to be. There you go, there's the queue resumed. Admiral though, he's managed to get in some pesky little fabs right there. And Xankar has to go and deal with those before he can send a fab and that way to expand. Look at this. Look at this. Cheeky blighters. Get out of it. Go away. Go on. Toddle off. Blocks coming in from the top now though, revealing their presence. They will get picked off very quickly. However, as a result. Admiral's air game though. On point again. Look at this. Admiral's even so confident in his map control that he's putting mines in the middle between the bases. Not even as a defensive measure, just to be annoying. Because he can get a combat fab that far up. That is how little influence Xankar has on this map right now. Going in for the T2 vehicles, but Admiral has one too. So he won't be getting any advantages there. We might have potentially 20 seconds on Admiral, but it's not enough. And with Admiral's 4 fabs building to Xankar's 2 and a com, that's pretty much all there's going to be in it. The air game is still dominated by Admiral, however. And there's not a lot that Xankar's going to be able to do about that. Let's have a count at the air factories. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah! Difference. What's the difference there for? The bomber ratio. Of course it's the bomber ratio. That and the fact that Xankar is continually throwing his air into terrible, terrible engagements before it is ready. And so keeps giving Admiral the leg up in the trades. Look at this. Look at this. He's sending his air in. And now Admiral takes minimal losses from that, whereas Xankar loses his entire air force and has to start building again from scratch. No wonder you're losing the air game, Xankar. What is this? He's probably got a crying baby in the background. That's going to be his excuse. My baby is in the background distracting me. I'm going to sit here and go, pfft. Put some earplugs in, put some music on, and play your game. Babies can wait. You're playing PA. Marshall 2016. But The stall is there as well from Xankar. It's not looking good, however you toss it. Fab account. The only thing that Xankar has at the moment is the unit count, but then again, much of that are these docks that aren't necessarily getting the damage done that they need to. So let's have a look back into the economy tab there. 222 to AdmiralGeneral, to 131 to Xankar. Not a huge amount in it, but the moment the T2 starts popping up, Xankar will gradually fall behind further and further. Excuse me while I just close hip chat. You got the air fabs going around from Admiral as well. Just another indicator of the lack of Xankar presence on this overcooked pizza. Even a second T2 vehicle factory coming up. That'll be what Admiral uses to really push through and dominate on this one. We've got a T2 fab out from Xankar, but his metal is just so far, and he, you know, however many minutes into the game we are now, and we still haven't had this plateau claimed. We still haven't had the stuff around the back claimed. We must have had further unfavourable air trades. We still haven't got any spinners in the mix. Come on. You can see his bomber ratio. Get some spinners in there, lad. Is he going for boombots? Is he going for boombot snipe? No way. No, he's not going to go for that. He's going to use the boombots against the levelers. That's a fair strat. Problem is, you need something to deal with the docks that will defend it. So in come the boombots against the docks. The level does go down. Problem is, there's more coming. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And even on a second front as well. Oh my goodness, this bomber pass is going to be painful. Look at that. Look at that. Fantastic opportunity taken there by Admiral. Yet again, showing not only superior micro, superior general tactics, really. Generally superior play. We're going to have a T2 fab snipe there, leaving Xankar with no T2 fabs. And he's got levelers coming in from both sides with no hope of defense. Oh well. Let's have a quick gander at what Admiral's up to. T2 air, yet again. Going in for probably the vehicle fab assist, maybe. It's going to be more efficient than building it with air fabs. That is for sure. What are these guys doing? Come on, Admiral. Oh, the bomber snipe to finish it off. Will it though? No, it won't. Oh, he's on what? 8%. No pass. Failed pass. Hashtag. Yeah, T2 Air Factory's finished now though, so the Kestrels can pop themselves over. We're getting enough bombers though for finisher. What is this? Oh no, we've got a flak going up. Admiral's seen it. No, he hasn't. Get in there. Finish off that com, Admiral. Finish it off. Go for it. Couple of leveler shots. That's all. And because of the superior bomber ratio there, might even give Xankar a little bit of opportunity to get into the air. What is going on here? Please tell me you're not. You were. Why did he go down? Was he still reclaiming? He is. He's still reclaiming his comm and repairing it at the same. I have no words. Xankar. Formerly a good PA player, boys and girls. And variations thereof. Come on, Admiral. One pass. Let's get a one pass. What is this? Is he going to build the Xankar box? Schrodinger's Xankar. Come on then. Let's come in with the Kestrels. Come on. Go for it. You can do 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 it. One pass. Thank you. Boom. Xankar. Down again. So that means AdmiralGeneral takes the best of 3. Do they even want to see the third game that they played, just for grace? I suppose Xankar can't really get much worse. That was that. Oh, I hope you've enjoyed those 2 games. Goodness me. So, the question on everyone's minds: can Xankar redeem himself on Closair of all places? My disdain of this map precedes me. There's Admiral's queue for you. Yeah, you can watch that get built in the bottom. Let's have a look. Not Xankar's, Admiral's. Xankar's on top, of course. Zoom in a little more so you can see what order he does that in. You can see Xankar, he's kind of going up diagonals. Again, going for 3, 4, 5 air factories, this time realising perhaps I need to get into the air game a little bit stronger. As a result, he is foregoing his vehicle transition, certainly for the early part of this game. 3 bot factories, however. Should be noted that because this is a PA stats replay, you cannot reliably say that all the metal spots are showing. For example, there should be 4 here, equally 4 here, 2 here, and so on. Most of them, I believe, are where they should be. But just a heads up, in case you're wondering why people would move to, or why the map appears to be asymmetrical. Admiral coming out though with the Firefly. Will we see any cheese strats though? Because this is Closair, so we tend to see some pelters placed near the ridge here. Equally, you can see some lobs placed that fire across the gap. Either way, players will need to expand in the opposite directions because between them there's a wonderful block. And of course, claiming the naval here is key to success on this map. It really is. It can't be understated. There's so much mechs in this water. Unbelievable amount of metal in there. Grabbing naval, or at least preventing your opponent from getting it, is a significant step to victory. A boombot sniper! And there's a foul. Nice pickup there. Injures the mechs at the same time. And this fabricator sort of comes back as like, where'd my buddy go? Leaving his metal extractor. Incomplete. Goodness me. What is this? With the bomber pick up that fab as well. Oh! Oh dear. Xankar, Xankar, Xankar. Oh, Xankar. Admiral, though, expanding in lots of different directions again, as always. 1, 2, 3. Potentially even some air fabs later on. Not a fab snipe! No, Xankar! Not good news for Xankar. Again being contained by Admiral flawlessly here. Look at that economy disparity there between them. It's only slight at the moment, but Xankar is floating a smidge. The rest of the map though, players tend to sort of forget about raiding this whole back section here. They maybe build a couple of bases, attack once with a medium-sized force, and then whether it's repulsed or whatever, they sort of just stop short of the base, get wiped out, the thing is re-expanded to, and never raided again. We'll have to see whether at this allegedly higher tier game, whether that'll be the case. Look at how many fabs have been killed for Xankar now. Oh, and another. Oh, I can hear the violins now. Goodness me. Wonderful, wonderful containment from Admiral. Top notch. Can zoom out from him there now, so that we can see between the bases. How many fabs have we got for Admiral alive? 6 to 2. Both of which are inside Xankar's original base hub. And I'm thinking, yeah, I need more air factories. That's a fair assessment. The drawback is that he still only has 3 land-based factories. Let's have a look at Admirals. 1, 2, 3, and the vehicle transition, which will lead to the T2 factory very soon indeed, plus the naval. That's important. He gets that. It's potentially all over. If it wasn't already for however many fabs have been killed. I just look at it. Economy 160 to 100. Really, really good play here from Admiral. As far as casts go, it's more educational than anything, rather than spectacularly, excitingly, evenly matched. It should be evenly matched between these two players, in all fairness. But apparently, Xankar's just having an off day. He is, however, growing his air force, which is good. It's good to see. Problem is now, though, Admiral has the water. Certainly in any small capacity there. What is this, Xankar? Your secure, safe, guaranteed 6 mechs has been reduced by an unholy percentage. 16.5% remaining. It's alright. Build more air factories. I suppose his strategy here is just to max out on the air, get back to raiding the game. The problem is, though, as a result of that, forcing the air really, really hard and sacrificing his mechs as a result, he needs to get those rebuilt. He has neglected the naval as a result. And what he'll find the moment the T2 vehicles come into play is that 3 land-based factories is not enough for however many minutes we are into the game. It is not. And with Admiral's superior economy here, all he needs to do is just build a bunch of air factories and he can get straight back into the air game. Xankar needs to expand desperately, 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 and he is doing... Xankar's expanding! Lo and behold, the Xankar is moving out. He is flying the nest. This is good. This is very good. What's not so good are the 2 T2 fabs that Admiral is about to finish, and Xankar hasn't even started his T2. So he's catching up in terms of his expansion right now, yes. But the moment the T2 kicks in, the gap will widen once again. More raiding here from Xankar, taking the opportunity while he can with the air game. Good decision. Of course, the moment he sees all of this stuff in the water... There we go. There's the narwhal reveal. There's the naval reveal. He doesn't want anything to do with that. Narwhals will decimate your bombers. With extreme prejudice. Look at this. And they weren't even bombing lengthways. And he doesn't commit to killing the narwhal after all. How many bombers did he lose there? Too many. And now I think perhaps he realises, oops. But he's got more air factories on the go. And he's floating a bit, so he needs to get some factories out. Problem is, of course, the second T2 vehicle factory is on the way. I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing some pelters creep up here from Admiral, really. Because why not? Why wouldn't you build pelters? You have the defender's advantage. You have your opponent chasing mechs around the map. Which he's doing quite well, I might add. Credit where credit is due. And has expanded. Look at this! Xankar's expanded. I think I'm going to hyperventilate. I think Xankar's finally warmed up. But here's the air game, though. For Admiral, he has his air force. He has his factories. Let's have a look in the factory count disparity there. 16 to 14. So pretty much even on the air front. In terms of their factory counts. Xankar just needs to make sure that his micro is on point. His bombers are going to get lost there, though. He retains their superiority for the time being. For how long, that is the question. Lost his bombers though, so now he needs to do some other form of raiding. But of course, looking around, there's not a whole lot to raid. He's done a remarkable job of making sure that Admiral doesn't have any expanded metal. The only problem is the water. The only way he's really going to get back into that is with massively superior air. But he doesn't have massively superior air right now. Another way is to get a cheeky, I don't know, T2 bot factory up or something, but instead he's gone for vehicles. Of course that is wise, given the fact that he has seen, surely, the... well, you can imagine the T2 vehicles and now he's seen them. T2 bots versus vehicles is not wise. T2, that is. I mean, look at those docks. Chipping away at the leveler. Slowly and surely chipping away. Wonderful stuff. T2 naval begins, however. The moment the Kaiju's and or Leviathan pops out of that, that will be curtains for Xankar. Because then there really will be no hope for him to get back into the water, especially not if he pops some Krakens on the coast. That really will lock that water down for Admiral for the foreseeable future in this game. The air trading, though, not great there for Xankar that time. Bombers trying to kill off some fabs as best they can, but the trade finally goes in favour of Admiral. And Xankar loses air superiority. Look at this air factory line, though. That's what's doing it. And Xankar's still determined to be building docks. Docks, docks, docks. Docks, docks. More docks. Kaiju's coming out. Let's have a look back at the economy there. Xankar's still struggling for power. He still hasn't rebuilt this mechs in his base. He's only just beginning to get his T2 economy in gear, though. Admiral had a knee-jerk reaction to the moment he lost the air. He's like, oh my goodness! I must build a planet's supply of air factories. And never stop. Is that Fab trying to reclaim that docks? What is going on? But look at that air now, though. There's no way Xankar can compete with that. He could not commit to a superior air force. And this wasted, or lost time rather, when he doesn't have air superiority is significant. As it means he simply can't keep congestion of the air. The pelters are up. As I suggested earlier, now that Admiral has the window, he has the superiority of airback, so he can safely get those fabs doing that. And look at those pelters flying up into a 6th in a minute. And that's going to lock down these 3 mechs here. Xankar does, however, have the majority of the T1 mechs now. At liggity long last, Xankar has theoretically an economy advantage, but he's lost his base and he hasn't got the ability to really capitalise on the T2 at the moment because he needs those units for defence. That is somewhat crucial. I think now the Kaijus are there and the levelers were poking a minute ago. That really is it for Xankar's main base there, and as he's been relocated he hasn't really been able to fully refresh his factory capabilities. He's got a lot of air factories and now they're in range of another Kaiju and he hasn't got any land presence bar 1 T2 vehicle factory. There's the GG. Valiant attempt at regaining his honour. Alas, 'twas to no avail. That was that game, folks, and that was that best of 3 series. Hope you enjoyed it. And hope you've gleaned some things from it. I've been the Marshal. The Marshal? Who's the Marshal? I'm Marshal. Stick around for some more PA on the way very soon indeed, plus some Supreme Commander coming up in the coming weeks and months. Until next time though, bye for now.